To create a special right triangle, I use 10 and 10 for my A and B values. This creates a 45, 45, 90 triangle. To put this in polar coordinates, I need to know the hypotenuse, or R, of the triangle, which is this value right here. And using special right values, I am able to figure out that this length is 10 radical 2. The next part is the theta value. The theta value is the next part in the polar coordinates, as you can see right here. And since it is a 45, 45 triangle, 90 triangle, the angle must have a reference angle of 45. Also, this triangle happens to appear in the fourth quadrant, so the angle must be 315. Based on this calculations right here, 315 equals 7 pi over 4 radians. So, the polar representation is 10 radical 2, 7 pi over 4. And for part B, I decided to make a rose graph. To create an equation for the rose graph, I have to place my coordinates into the standard rose graph formula, which is r equals a cosine slash sine theta. I have to place my values into the formula and solve for missing values. Also, I used guess and check to determine that using cosine and adding a coefficient of 4 to theta would align the petals to the point above. I would solve the equation 10 radical 2 equals a cosine 4, 7 pi over 4, and that leaves us a equals negative 10 radical 2, so the equation is r equals 10 radical 2 cosine 4 theta. The petals are, based on this equation, the petals are 10 radical 2 units long because the 10 radical 2 in front right here, it's the absolute value, so the negative doesn't matter in lengths. And there are 8 petals because whenever it's an even graph, so to be double, so it'll be 4 times 2 is 8. So since it's even number right here, it's double, so that'd be 8 petals. And also we know that the angles between each petals is 45 because it's 360 degrees all around, and we divide by 8 petals, so it's 45. Also, I tested symmetry. So it is symmetrical to the polar axis because once you plug in negative theta, this equation checks out. The equation checks out, but it is not symmetric to the theta pi over 2 and symmetric to the pole because after plugging the corresponding values like negative r's and negative thetas in various spots, they do not equal each other, so they're not symmetric.